Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm Jen Campbell, and I focus on product marketing and innovation here at TRC. And I'm joined today by Ben Dwinal, VP of Solution Architecture here at TRC. Now, Ben, we're here to talk about some of the creative ways that our team has been thinking about UN migrations, utility network migrations. Our team have been doing these migrations for, close to a decade now, and has seen a lot of, great work from projects, successes with customers. We've also seen some risks pop up, as well as some patterns around that. I wanted to talk with you a little bit about that today, but also highlight that our team has been an Esri Platinum partner for about a decade and a half. And we were actually Esri's first Platinum partner, which is always a fun thing to highlight. And so for us being able to be part of this Esri utility network migration wave in the GIS space has been really rewarding. So maybe start off by just telling us about how we're thinking about that packaging up some of our new offerings in the utility network space.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been fortunate to have been working in UN migrations for the last 8 years. And what we've been able to do is get a lot of different experiences across the industry with clients. And we've been able to convert that into some standard practices that really lead organizations that we work with to success with their UN migrations, right? And really what it focuses on is a couple of phases that we want to put modules and automations around to, number one, accelerate certain portions of the migration. Number two, reduce risk for our clients on their migration activities. We kind of break it down into looking at it from 4 different angles, right? And when we think about our EDGE program and how we position it for our clients' best use and opportunities for success with their migrations is to break it down into a pre-assessment, pre-conversion, conversion, and post-conversion phases. What that allows us to do is to frame our automations and our tool sets and our reporting structures into modules that fit into those different phases of the project.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, so I think, breaking it down into those different phases not only makes it a lot more digestible and to your point, enables some module building and automation building around those repeat patterns that we see, but it also probably helps our customers really digest what the journey really looks like, right? Mm-hmm. And through talking with you, one of the things that resonated with me a lot was, hey, that, through our historical journeys with some customers, there have been things that popped up midway that are have taught everybody lessons about, gosh, if we ask that in the assessment phase, in that early stage of the engagement, that enables the project team to have more awareness of what might be coming through the journey, right? So I think, if I'm hearing you right, that assessment, that first step of the UN EDGE program is super exciting to us because it really helps everyone on the project to have a better understanding of what that journey is going to look like. So, one of the things that, again, like diving in a little bit more on the challenges side, I'd like to hear from you. What are those issues that maybe popped up along the way that helped to inspire some of the, automation or some of the pre-assessment steps that are built into this first part of the EDGE program?
Yeah, absolutely, Jen. We, through the experience of multiple conversions, what we found is that a lot of times assessments are put into a phase 0 of a project effort. Mm-hmm. And some of the challenges that creates for organizations really boil down to time and schedule and ability to make adjustments needed to support a UN deployment across their organization. Okay, yeah. Some of the pre-assessments that you see around in the industry are heavily focused on data conversion and data readiness. And certainly that's a primary focus for our assessment phase as well. However, what we have found is some of the other key challenges in a UN migration have to do with infrastructure upgrades,
Right.
also have to do with integrated systems. Maybe other systems are being upgraded during your UN migration. Having a plan for those prior to your conversion phases is really important, because it may take a lot more than just the GIS group to make decisions. It may take a larger body of key stakeholders to be involved. And then lastly, I would point to really establishing the options for a release strategy as part of that pre-assessment. And when we say that, we've worked on multiple different release strategies, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. Each organization, we have to work with them to come up with the right release strategy, whether it's a jurisdictional release strategy, bringing one jurisdiction at a time onto the UN, whether it's what we call a hybrid migration, where we'll move the UN into a system of engagement, but keep the system of record on their legacy system while we adapt integrations. So there's multiple different ways you can do a release strategy. And anyway, when we look at that assessment phase, it's a great opportunity to get a plan together, get ahead of some of these key decisions that we know may take an organization 6, 8 months or a year to solve, and arm them with that information so that they reduce their risk when the conversion comes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, and it's interesting to me how you're highlighting things that might pop up that weren't thought about if folks didn't have this experience on their own, which is why they engage the right partner, right? Really understanding what that infrastructure need is going to be, the connection to other systems, and being able to recognize that far ahead of time so you can get ahead of things like budget cycles and organizational needs and operations the right way. So, and it sounds like there's a lot of things in place with this assessment part of the EDGE program that kind of asks some questions and has some repeat use, tool sets that help guide, maybe assess that data readiness. So, I mean, when you're thinking of with this part of the offering, is it like, how are you theoretically wanting to take those planned pieces, those problem points, and set the customer up? Like maybe a little more detail around how our team is really thinking about it and starting to build tools around it.
Yeah, so data readiness and conversion to the UN is a big part of that assessment phase. So there's a lot of power in knowing what portions of your data are going to fit nicely into the UN rule base, into the UN schema, and those that may be challenges, right? So knowing which key components of your existing data structures may need to have some decisions from your business stakeholders to complete the mapping from one schema to the other. That's really important to know. Decision makers across your organization may need to be involved. It may need to be a coordinated decision across multiple departments, right? So those things take time. So certainly knowing where those conflicts may occur ahead of time gives you time to make those key decisions about what it's going to look like when it gets to the UN. So that's one aspect of it. I think another aspect of it is we've found over time that some of the data geometry topology issues going into the UN that we find coming from other systems, geometric networks, small world, other data systems, is that a lot of these fixes can be automated as part of the conversion. So simply running an error report against a conversion could spit out 50,000 errors. However, 90% of those errors could be coincident geometry. It could be simple connectivity issues that we can correct as part of an automated process during conversion. So that's not something that we need our clients spending a lot of time worrying about. We want them focused on that small percentage of errors that require key stakeholder business decisions. Right?
Makes perfect sense.
So being able to separate those out and not let the shock of, wow, I've got that many errors going to the UN scare anybody, but really knowing and quantifying the percentages of where those errors fall, which ones can be automated, and which ones may need a bit of a manual touch to get through. lastly, I would point to this, Jen. The readiness portion is we help clients determine when the right time is to fix certain aspects or make adjustments. There'll be a lot of data that if you have 8 months to think about and deal with, that you can solve pre-conversion, right?
Okay.
And so that will make your conversion much smoother, and the data on the quality on the backside of that conversion into the UN will be significantly better. So we give them opportunities to pre-mitigate a lot of the issues that they might encounter going through a conversion. There may be some small percentage of errors that we recommend for post-conversion mitigation, right? Anyway, having a plan with how you're going to deal with the different error types and conflicts going into the UN is really what our data assessment is all about.
Wow, that's really powerful, Ben. And I think even just some of the points you had around specific types of errors, specific types of data that you've seen and the team has experienced over the years is not only insightful and I imagine energizing for clients to kind of know they have a partner that has been through this and knows what to expect, but the fact that we have this mapped out, we have tool sets to help with automation of the more regularly faced and less complicated types of errors and cleaning that up so they know where to make the best use of their limited time and resources, which we know anyone on any of these big migration projects has realized, yeah, like our customers still have their day job and they're supposed to now help with this thing. Like the time is so precious. And to your other point about being able to do some of that in a pre-conversion phase is also really significant because, again, anyone who's switched over systems to get ready for a go live, it's like that actual handover, reducing risk of that phase of the project is huge. So, wow, really excellent intel.
And we've talked a lot about reducing risk on conversion, but it boils down to efficiency of the migration as well. I think that's a key point, Jen, that maybe I just need to touch on a little. Some of the high value analytics that you get from moving to a utility network, such as sub-network configuration and tracing, that's important stuff to have. And boy, the more we know about the data early on in the assessment phase and the more issues we can mitigate at that point is going to make your sub-network configuration easier, more efficient, more attainable as part of your go live activity. And so that's the position we really want to put our clients in, is to, from day one, be able to maximize their investment in their conversion to the UN by getting some of these high value analytics right from the get-go as part of their conversion.
Yeah. Wow. Really powerful stuff, Ben. So appreciate you sharing those pieces of intel. Any last thoughts? Because I just really want to make sure that I think you emphasize it again, the importance of really reducing that risk, but also streamlining the actual go live event itself and making that really efficient. I mean, when any type of move over event like that, it's like getting the time frame down and having predictable results from that particular phase. It's huge. It can make or break the project. So any last thoughts that you want to have for the audience?
I would say this, Jen. We in the years we've been doing migrations, a UN migration is almost never a singular activity at an organization. Other systems are being upgraded, platforms are being modernized. There's movements to cloud environments. There's hybrid solutions between cloud and on-prem. Those are all factors, again, that we want to get in early on as part of the plan and part of our support for our clients in their UN success. Planning out how you combine a UN migration while upgrading an ADMS and the right ways to sequence that, the right time to move to a cloud environment. Is it during the conversion phase? Is it post-conversion, right? Like getting all those sequenced right for your organization. And each organization has different factors that may, sway a decision one way or the other. But certainly understanding all those components of the landscape for our clients only helps the entire movement, entire conversion to the UN. So I think we take kind of a broad view as we enter these assessment phase to really partner with our clients and make sure that we're taking into account all these considerations, other systems, other upgrades, modernizations, platform adjustments, infrastructure upgrades as part of their UN migration plan. I think is a key component to success as well.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that because it expands a little bit more on the point of it's not in a vacuum. It's not just the
Right.
GIS team that's going to be handling it. It's not just that group that, has to make the decisions and the judgment calls. It touches so many other facets of the organization, which they themselves might be growing through their own migration efforts. So again, like to me, I share your passion for the assessment phase of the UN Edge program because it's through that really thoughtful and thorough assessment and planning of the project that helps to make sure like it reduces risk. And the fact that we have some automation around that we can help educate the collective project team on what's coming and how they should structure their time makes a huge impact on risk reduction. So thank you for all that intel. And again, UN Edge program, a 4-step program that we have that helps to expedite and reduce risk for Esri utility network migrations. We're so excited for this assessment piece and continuing to engage with customers and advance that. So thank you, Ben, for joining today. Please also, those in the audience, reach out to TRC. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn. There will be a lot more content coming on the UN Edge program, and we're very likely going to have some pieces on this assessment piece pretty quick. So there'll be a lot more to read and follow. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.